All right, welcome back to Football with Ben Roethlisberger. I am Ben, he is Spence, and we are in the basement. And we are joined today by a very special guest. It's not really going to be about Randy Watson, but I have my old quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, Randy Fichtner, in the house. Randy, welcome. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
We appreciate you joining us. You're in town being a grandpa.
Yep.
And obviously the Oakmont and just here for about a week, you said?
Yep.
And so in town, I was like, hey, come on, let's get on the show. Let's talk about, in case there's any like quarterback stuff to talk about in Pittsburgh.
Is there?
I don't know, is there anything going on in Pittsburgh? Not going on?
So.
I don't know. But I figured what a time to, as we're talking about minicamp starting this week, the Open is starting this week, which your golf game has gotten a little. We don't need to talk about your golf game on here, but it's gotten a little better. But
a little better.
We can talk Steelers and what's going on with minicamp. Obviously, it's Tuesday. As you're watching this now, it is Tuesday night. So the first minicamp will already be over. There will be some news. I assume Aaron will speak today. As you all know, if you're watching this, unless you come from a different planet, Aaron Rodgers is officially a Steeler. And so he is at minicamp. And so he will be at practice today. Will speak. And obviously this is being shot before he speaks or before there's a practice. So there'll be some probably unique things. But big news in Pittsburgh this week. The two biggest things, obviously, Aaron Rodgers in town. And we've been told, again, this is before practice start. Well, I guess they're probably in meetings now, right? I think
meetings, 8 o'clock.
that TJ Watt is not in town or is not in the building. Is not at practice. We don't know where he is. That's not. Do we still have that tracker on his phone, or we got it?
The thing is the update, the iOS update.
So we don't know where TJ is. But he's not at practice. Obviously causing big news, big ripples in probably the sports world, but especially here in Pittsburgh. So just some fun things to talk about. And the best part about it is we're going to be able to not just get my perspective on it as a former player, but we get to get a coach's perspective on it. Obviously, different side of the ball when you talk about TJ, but still, from the higher ups and what that's going to look like, and then it'll be fun to talk some quarterback stuff as we dive into this thing. So that's kind of where we're at. So thank you, Randy Watson, for being here.
No, I love that.
It's actually Randy Fichtner, but we always call him Randy Watson. So
where did the Randy Watson come from?
Oh, it was great.
Watson
from
you ever seen
Coming to America?
Oh yeah. I know, but why'd you call him that?
Oh no, it came up in a team meeting one day, and there was another thing that came up. You remember? Hokey Bro used to always say this to me because he remembered it, but he said they may have Randy. What's the damn wideout's name? Moss.
Randy Moss.
They may have Randy Moss, but we got Randy Fichtner. remember when Mike T said that in the meeting? Hokey Bro has brought that up forever.
A tale of two Randys.
Forever.
Two Randys.
Yeah.
Both very talented.
Yeah.
Dude, I can tell you stories about this clown right here. One of the first team meetings I was ever in. One of the first team meetings I was ever in. He takes my phone. He found more ways to use my phone. He puts my phone under my chair where I always sit. I made a mistake and always sit in the same chair for 14 years.
We always sat in the same chair. I sat here and he sat right next to me in the aisle over.
But so he puts my phone in there. Well, you can't have cell phones on the second floor and definitely not in Coach Tomlin's meetings. Next thing you know, right dead in the middle of the meeting, ding-ling-ling, ding-ling-ling. I'm looking around like, oh, shoot.
Someone's got somebody. Someone's in trouble.
And Ben's hyping it up over there. Someone's getting fined.
Fine him, Coach.
Yeah.
We're in the front row.
Yeah.
Who is it? Randy's looking around. Phone rings again.
Still underneath. I don't have any idea. Oh, man. That was funny.
Mike is like, at some point, he's like, what's going on? He looks right at me.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Coach, we got to get him. Who is it?
We got to get him.
And next thing you know, like he starts laughing and Randy's like, no, I think what happened was, if I remember correctly, and I don't know. Yeah. I don't think it was me that did this. I'm just helping out.
Okay.
I think it was like, Randy, is that yours? He goes, that's not my ring.
Yeah.
That's not my ring. We're like, are you sure, Randy?
Yeah.
No, it's not.
And it was right underneath my.
Is that mine? And then he looked around at me, and then everyone started laughing. So, but anyway, I don't remember doing that.
It was
good for you guys.
Anyway,
I got him back years later. I ate a worm in a team meeting. Out in.
How'd you get me back?
Yeah, you got him back.
Well, no,
you eating the worm?
I got him back because he ran out of the meeting. He was like sick. He was like wanting to throw up.
That was a little weird. At least I got him back. So that did not get me back.
Seems like that's not what happened.
Oh man. Oh, shoot. So, yeah, Randy, obviously, for those that don't know as well, Randy was with Pittsburgh for how many years?
14.
14 years. He was the receiver coach first.
Yep.
For how many? You were the 3 years as the receiver coach. You were the quarterback coach then for 7 or 8?
The whole time, even.
Well, yeah, okay. You were I guess the whole time. But then you went coordinator the last 3. And so obviously knows his stuff. You've had, and it's going to be fun too to talk about, to get your perspective, because I talk a lot in here about what it takes to be a starting quarterback and what a good backup quarterback's like. And so to get some perspective and see if you agree with some of my philosophies on what it takes to be a good quarterback. So, one of the unique things too, that Randy actually coached Mason Rudolph as well. He was in the room
Well,
with
when
you.
we drafted him, so I was at his pro day.
Yeah.
Gosh, I didn't think we were going to take him.
Yeah.
I didn't think we were going to take a quarterback.
Yeah. Obviously, we talked about that last week, the third round. But that's neither here nor there. I guess the reason I bring that up is the big news: Aaron Rodgers coming into town. There's been a lot of speculation that it was going to happen anyway. We all know that. And I think there was some, people probably knew it was going to, or felt like it was going to happen. It did finally happen. What is that? Mason's going into this thing like he has to prepare himself that he's going to be the starter, which I've always said on this show, the best backups prepared to be ready to go at a drop of a hat. And we've had, I can't say I anymore. We've had some great backups. I mean, I can go down the list from Byron to Charlie to Bruce Gradkowski to Landry, Michael Vick. I mean, we've had a bunch of great ones. And I always said that the best backups prepare to play, but they also prepare the starter to play.
No doubt.
And so it's a little different because, I mean, Mason has been preparing himself to go. And so he's been at probably every single OTA. He's been at all the practice, all the voluntary stuff and preparing and learning the offense. New offense for him, I assume. And so that's what's going to be interesting is now all of a sudden that Aaron comes in, as a coach and as a coordinator and quarterback coach. Does Aaron just go right to the number one? He has to, right? Because he's a Gold Jacket guy.
Unfortunately, yes.
Even though Mason, Charlie made news probably a couple weeks ago, we talked about here, where he said there's a decent chance that Mason, did he say we'll beat him out or no? We'll know. I mean, he's going to know the offense better. He said he'll outperform him or something.
Yeah,
probably.
And he hit a quote.
Yeah, probably something along those lines. In the early stages. Yeah, because of familiarity and because he's smoother in the system. Mm-hmm. But I still think you got it. You better put your starter in there, and he better get all those reps. I mean, when you were available to play, you got the reps.
Right.
When you needed your rest, we gave it to you. Mm-hmm. But there's no time for rest now.
Not now.
I mean, it's full go for Aaron.
Well, and how much do you think is going to be unique for him because he's coming in, Aaron, speaking of, into an offense that he's never ran, right? Like, so people were asking me, like, is it a big deal he's not here? And I said, it's a bigger deal. It's not a big deal for a vet to miss minicamp, OTAs. Not a big deal for a vet if you have the same system, if you're the same coaching staff. I mean, as a quarterback, you can miss some OTAs because it's like, when I was with you for so many years, we knew the offense. And it was like, okay, that's not a big deal to not be here. You like the continuity, familiarity, like you say, with players.
Well, and we like the idea of that was young guy time. Right. So that was their development time, and that's where Mason could grow. Mm-hmm. That's where Landry or somebody
Dobbs
could grow.
And those guys could learn it. And there's definitely a benefit to your guy not being there. Because when you're there, you're going to, like, when I'm there, I want the reps. Right. And so it's like, it's hard to do that. That's a good point. But I think now it's like, this is a new offense for Aaron. I think Aaron's really kind of only run the West Coast system. I don't believe Arthur Smith runs a West Coast system. I don't know what exactly it is. I don't know his system real well, but it seems like it's a lot of tight ends. It's like he likes a mobile quarterback. He had Tannehill. He's had like the Fields move. And so it'll be interesting to see how he wants to utilize Aaron. How much of that is a big deal with like Aaron being potentially a completely new offense?
Understanding the complexity of the offense and where you can go with it, maybe, but not from a football standpoint of concepts of plays. I mean, some of these plays they were way before we were born.
Right.
You know, it's just been redeveloped. But how they insert into the system, how can he use them? How can he use them in maybe no huddle?
Right.
How can he use them in checks, and what's that check system look like?
Right.
You know, because a lot of the different systems have different ways of checking or getting into other plays.
Yeah. Well, I think too, because that's what that's definitely going to be interesting. Because I know that there was some reports earlier this week, I think, or last week, of Aaron and Coach T and Arthur Smith having calls about. I forget how they exactly worded it about the offense or how Aaron can implement things. And I think that's probably people are probably reading that like, wait a second, is this like Aaron switching the whole offense? I can't at this point. You as a quarterback, you can't come in and Aaron can't be like, hey, here's the offense I want to run, and everyone has to adapt to that.
Right.
I think, like you just said, I think it's more like, hey, how about this check? Like maybe a couple plays that he likes that he's run in the past, he's had success with. What about a 2-minute? How does that look like? You know, I assume that's kind of what Aaron's talking about, because I heard last year that Arthur Smith called the 2 minutes. Even with Russell Wilson, it was Arthur Smith calling the play, and that can be tough for a veteran quarterback. Because you feel the rhythm, you feel the game, you want to call the plays, but you have to be familiar with the system to do that.
No doubt.
So I'm guessing that there's definitely something there with Aaron, more like, hey, listen, what's our 2 minute going to look like? What's our no huddle going to look like? How can we implement things in that? Because that's going to be more important. I
agree.
think.
Yeah, then base offense.
Yes.
First and second down football. Arthur, Steelers, this is what we do.
Right.
Here's how you can help us. Obviously, Aaron would have thoughts on that as well, because you can't have that many perspectives and have played that many reps in the games and not have something to add every time. I mean, you do have something to add. Now, how much they want to listen, how much that communication is, that's the key to the whole thing, I think. I mean, it's all going to come down to Arthur. It's going to come down to Aaron. I mean, how do they communicate? How well that communicates, and then how does it produce on the field?
Yeah. I think the what they call the X factor, the unknown, is what people don't realize too when it comes to a quarterback and coordinator, the relationship. There has to be a relationship in the sense that the more you know the guy, the more you understand what they're going to call. Now, obviously, you get that from the more time together. But because there's going to be times that, as a coordinator, you're going to call a play and the quarterback does not like that play.
Right.
The more you get to know each other, the more you're like, okay, I'm going to stay away from that call because I know he doesn't necessarily like it, or in this situation or whatever it is. Those guys, I don't know how well those guys know each other, but there's definitely got to be some that relationship, because I got along great with you. I got along great with BA. But it wasn't always hunky-dory. But that's what, it's just like anything. That's what relationships are. It's give and take. There's good, there's bad. And so that's, to me, going to be the X factor, is how are these two going to communicate with each other? Because there's going to be frustrations. When we had frustrations, listen, there were plenty of times with again, I use you and BA as examples because I was with you guys the longest, where something would happen and I may have to call timeout, right? Like play comes in or it doesn't come in, whatever it is, timeout. And you're mad and I'm mad and come over the sideline and we get into this little bicker. But because of the relationship, you're able to put it to bed really quick, right? Yeah. If you don't have that relationship and you have that same thing, there's going to be a moment in this season where Arthur Smith calls a play and maybe he calls it wrong. Because, quarterbacks, we call plays wrong. I tell all the time. Oh. How many times in the huddle did I call a play wrong and Heath Miller, Matt Spaeth, hey, Ben, it's not like, oh, yeah, that's right, I called it wrong. It happens. We all make mistakes.
We've done wristbands that have been checked and rechecked. And they were wrong.
Still have issues, right? Very true. Yeah. And so, but the thing about it is, there's going to be a moment where Aaron, and my point of saying that is coordinators make mistakes too. They'll call a right formation with a left protection. It's
Correct.
like, wait, you can't do
right.
And so there's going to be a moment where Arthur does something this year, messes up somehow. Aaron's going to call timeout. He's going to unsnap his little one buckle, and he's going to be really mad. The key is how is that then when he gets to the sideline, or if he stays out there because there's times. Hey, let me tell you all something real quick. When quarterbacks call timeout and don't go to the sideline, it's because we're really mad and we don't want to be close to y'all. But he's going to stay out there and he's going to stay there and he's going to stand there and he's going to be talking to himself. Been there, done that. How can that relationship then, like, how fast can that get put to bed? Because when you have a great relationship with someone you know for a long period of time, which they don't have this because this is new. And now Aaron just coming in, how fast can that riff, if you call it, get put to bed? That's to me going to be the X factor for this season for the offense.
Well, I think that's going to depend on Aaron. Yeah. I mean, I don't mind putting it on him. Mm-hmm. I mean, because he's the one that's going to have to play. He's the one that's going to, at the end of the day, he's out there taking the snap and trying to make it all come alive. And I don't think that the coach, there's nothing else he can do. Once you kind of have a system in place and you have the calls the way you call it, he's got to go out and execute it.
Right.
And now I think the bigger question is going to be is the no huddle, 2 minute. Mm-hmm. Can a play get changed? What is my freedoms? Within that system.
But just know what you can tell Aaron Smith. Just know you can tell Aaron Rodgers you can't check the line of scrimmage.
And I'm sure they won't. I mean,
I was told that they told Russ he couldn't, but I'm not trying to put they're a different player. I get that, but I can't imagine that he's going to be like, "Hey, Aaron, you run what I call." Every time.
There's too many good things that can happen when you're at the line of scrimmage with a veteran quarterback that can take advantage of situations that can't be played out in a call from the sideline to the coach or to the quarterback.
Well, and I understand that Aaron Rodgers and Russell Wilson are, like you said, two different players with two different resumes. But what would be the significance of not letting a Russell Wilson do that? Like, why would an OC deem that to be a better option than somebody with Russell Wilson's resume, not giving him a little bit of freedom?
I'll let you answer first. I have a theory.
Well, I got a small theory on that. I think they're trying to. There's a team that they're trying to be, and they have a what they want to look like offensively, and who they're going to be and how they're going to utilize their people, and maybe even somewhat eliminate risks, and in an attempt that we're going to win, whether it's ugly, but we're going to win what we've always been able to win with the solid defense here. And guys, we're not going to make mistakes and some communication. Let's limit how much communication can actually be done, because once you start talking, things can get confusing. It's like signals and everything else. It only takes one person to mess it up, and you can't dance, or you're stepping all over each other. So I think they probably tighten things down potentially to remove some of that potential risk. And in doing so, you limit a veteran quarterback, and you might not have been able to pull everything he has to give you. Because the truth is, what do we really know what he could have given you? Well, I didn't study Russell Wilson's career. We played him a handful of times. We see him on, cut-ups and stuff. Mm-hmm. But who knows what he potentially could have done.
Good and bad.
Right. No doubt. Mm-hmm. And so I say they just eliminated that risk, or tried to eliminate that risk as much as possible, if that's what was being done. And
I would say, too, I totally agree. I would say two other potential reasons for that question are, and I don't know this, I'm just saying it from my perspective, thoughts. Ego. We talked about that on the show. Quarterbacks have egos, coordinators have egos. There's no doubt about it. It's how can you temper those egos in terms of working together? Maybe, again, it doesn't mean in this situation. I'm just saying it can happen. A coordinator has an ego and he goes, no, I study, I know what's doing. When I call a play, you run it because I know what's best for this team.
Sure.
That's an option. The other option is, kind of going along with what you said, is there's not enough trust. Maybe they don't trust him to have to run it. And some of that too, though, is, again, it's going to go back to something I said earlier. When you have a relationship with a coordinator and you trust each other and you know each other, he's going to trust that if I do change a play or audible or do something, I'm going to change it to a play that he might be like, okay, that might have been a play I would have called here too. Like that's when you're totally in sync with your coordinator. And I've been there, like I said, been there with guys, and it helps that you're with them for a long period of time. And I'll just keep using BA and Randy's examples. When they would call a play, a great coordinator, in my opinion, is calling a play, and he already has, and when that play gets called into the quarterback, once he sees it's going, he's already on to the next play. So he's like, okay, what could happen here? What could happen here? I have a next couple plays ready. It's not a reaction. I don't think the best coordinators are reactive. I think they're proactive. I could be wrong. I think they're thinking ahead. They're thinking, okay, what could happen on this play? Now I need to be prepared to call a play if this happens or if this happens.
Sure.
Right? And so I think when a coordinator calls a play, he's like, okay, this is the play. This is option A. I like this. I could go with option B, but I like option A. Okay. Now, if a quarterback goes out there and he's in a no huddle or he changes the play and he decides to go like option A is called in my headset, I'm going there like, you know what? Hold on. This doesn't look good. I'm going to flip to a new play. And when I pick my new play, it actually is option B that he was thinking of.
Sure.
Because you know each other, then there's trust there. And he's like, that's a great call. That was my other one I was thinking about, or whatever. When you call a play that like is on this side of the chart and you're like, what are we doing over here? Then it's like, I can't quite give you that freedom because why did you what were you thinking there?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? I know
Can't trust your judgment.
Yeah, and I'm given a lot of what ifs, but I just and I'm not saying any of this is going to happen to this team.
Right,
I'm
but
just saying those are some options.
Those are things
why
we're trying to think about, like potential problems that could arise or not. You know.
Yeah.
I used an example though in Cincinnati a couple years ago. You remember when we got the ball late. I can't remember exactly. We needed a touchdown to win the game. And we had third down, and I think it was 4. One timeout left. Mike T called the timeout. You came over the sideline. As I started to look at this call, I started and said the first words on the right because it was a 2x2. We brought AB in short motion, and it was stack hot on the other side.
On the left side, yeah.
And before I finished saying it, you said, that's the one with the stack hot. And you had already started walking out back to the field. It was like, that was the play we're calling. I knew it. You knew it. We all knew it. We walk off. It was a walk off.
Touchdown to win a game.
It was a walk off. Now we were going to play for a field goal, you know, and you're going to have to make a long one. That was the year that it wasn't guaranteed, you know. But
yeah. That's the relationship you.
See, you knew. I knew as soon as you said the last words to it. I'm like, and even Mike T walked away because it was like, okay, that decision's done.
Yeah, it's like finishing each other's sentences. Like we joke about that. It's the same. It's the same philosophy, but and that, again, this is just a lot of words to say that this could be something that this team could be missing with not.
Sure.
And you could have a great quarterback. You have a Hall of Fame quarterback, but it doesn't necessarily translate to winning games because this is a different system and something new for him.
Sure.
It's going to help. It's not going to hurt to have a guy like him. But it doesn't, just because you're bringing him in does not guarantee you're going to go to the playoffs, you're going to win a playoff game, you're going to win a Super Bowl. It does not mean that. This is something completely new to Aaron and to this team.
What happens in the dynamic, or what is then Coach T's responsibility when you have somebody with Aaron's career, and no disrespect to Arthur Smith, but I mean Aaron Rodgers is a Hall of Fame quarterback, right? If that disconnect that was allegedly happening last year with Arthur and Russ happens again this year, what's the move there? Is that like you battle to a Hall of Fame quarterback, or you sit here to, hey, no, man, this is.
I don't know that they're going to have that issue. I'll be honest with you. I just from a distance, and I can take this perspective now because I'm sitting fishing and golfing in Florida, okay? And I'm watching you all work and sweat. And we used to tease. Yeah. We used to tease when we could get the 1 o'clock game. I mean, what did Mike T say? I'm going to be in my basement by 4:30.
Yeah.
Well, I'm in my basement every day, okay? Full time, and that's all I have to do is look and see all this. And I don't know that it can only be positive that he's here. It's going to be positive even for Mason Rudolph, okay? Because Ben was positive for Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph is developing around the people that he's had around him, okay? That doesn't necessarily mean Mason's going to end up taking this team to a Super Bowl someday, or he's going to be, all of a sudden jumping ahead and being because he was around Aaron Rodgers and Ben, now all of a sudden he's going to be a great player. No, it's not. That doesn't happen. He just keeps working. He keeps working, and he's found himself to be usable and very dependable, and I can see why they would want him back.
A long time like that.
I would say. I mean, we look at Charlie. We knew Charlie to be 16 years, 15. I mean, it was a lot of years he was in the league, and a lot of years since the time he got to play. And And I think Mason can do a heck of a job probably for the Steelers in that role with Aaron. He's done it before with you.
I think the person that's going to benefit the most from all this is Will Howard.
No doubt.
Because he gets to see how a Hall of Fame guy does it.
Yep.
For good, bad, and different, whatever is going to happen.
Yep.
He gets to see how Mason, who has been a journeyman, I mean, you can call him that.
Yep.
He's been a backup. He's been a little bit of starter. Mason's kind of done a lot of things. So Will gets to sit back and be like, okay, I see how he approaches. I see how he approaches it. I see how this is. Like this is going to, like, he is going to benefit the most from this whole thing, in my opinion.
I agree.
I think he's got a real chance.
Well, and both him and Mason again, because I'm just assuming, but Wednesday's got to probably be an off day again for an older quarterback. Yeah. Okay, it's the right thing to do. There's another development day for Mason, maybe Will. Mm-hmm. I mean, that to me was always a fun day. I didn't like it as a coordinator because I didn't like not having you out there.
Yeah.
But if you were out there and not in the training room and you were able to catch the visual reps, that's all you needed. Mm-hmm. Now Mason was out there getting his physical reps, and that's a bonus. Yeah. And that actually helps your team. Because if you do happen to go down, and you can go down. I saw you go down after throwing a ball in the flat or whatever. I mean, and you walked off and your arm was hanging. Mm-hmm. I mean, things like that can happen when you start to get a little bit older. And all of a sudden, if Aaron's got to come out of a game for a half or a game, we got Mason who's been in there, and he's got that same opportunity to get those weekly reps.
It sounds weird to say that you trust. It's not the same person, right? If Aaron goes down, if I went down,
correct.
You can't sit there and be like, "Oh, we're fine." You can be fine. You may not be the same, but you got to have confidence that we can get out of this game. I know for a fact that if something happened to me, and Charlie had to come in, if Bruce had to come in, if Vic or Byron, and those guys came in, Dobbs, you're like, okay, we're going to get out of it. We're going to be okay. Now, you don't want to necessarily go through a 3 or 4 game stretch.
The long-term effects.
But you can get out of a game or something with that's the person you have to trust back there. And I think that they have that in Mason right now. Because it's like you said, listen, Aaron's QB1. Let's be honest. We know that's going to happen. So I just think that the Steelers are in a good situation right now in the sense that they have some pretty good depth at quarterback, I think.
If they roll the ball out, and he's here at minicamp and he's here full time in training camp, and you go through the preseason, and if they're being truthful, and if Mason has outplayed them, you're still playing Aaron.
Yeah, for sure, 100%. So it's like playing a drafted guy versus a guy. But it's Duck Hodges.
It's $8 million compared to $20. I mean, that's the part that it doesn't matter what you talk about with the rest. But what you really love to know is, man, if something does happen or you're developing this young guy, that he's going to be able to go in there and get you out of a game and get you to the next week.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd mentioned Will, and we had him on the show. Have you watched much of him? What are your thoughts on Will?
Just the national champ, the playoffs. I got to know him a little bit through that, just watching him. He reminds me of a big guy that kind of throws it. I don't know. I'll see tomorrow. How it flicks off his wrist, but he looks like a big guy that can be. Looks like he's a caring guy. Looks like he breathes football. Looks like he loves the game. It looks like he probably loves the Steelers. I mean, absolutely already loves the Steelers. And there's a mindset alone. That's positive. But the physical side, I don't know the mental either.
Yeah, I would love to I would love to talk to you tomorrow after or whenever. Are you going tomorrow or today?
Yeah, I'm going down tomorrow.
I would love to talk to you after that because and people that watch this show hear me say this all the time. I think you hit on the nail on the head. He cares. I mean, he got drafted, and those are genuine tears.
Yeah,
and he went in the 6th round, and he was genuinely crying and happy to come. I think he's going to work. I thought, to me, one of the things that people ask me, I said the reason I liked him is when he goes and loses the first game at Oregon, slides. We talked about on the show. Mm-hmm. He lost the game. He knows he lost the game. He bounces back and wins and blows them out in the Rose Bowl and then wins a national championship. There's something to be said about that. He could have quit. He could have let his team down. A lot of things could have happened. He didn't. He looks like a winner to me. I would love to see him in person throw the ball. He's a big kid. He can handle some things. He can run, I think, better than people give him credit for. So I'm interested to kind of see. I think he's got a lot of heart. And I've said this, and I would love to get your thoughts on this. You may not agree as a coordinator. I've always said especially when it comes to linemen, give me a guy with more heart and less talent than a guy with more talent and less heart. And Will appears to be a guy that has a lot of heart and he wants to be out there. And he might be talented too. I don't know yet. I'm just saying, I think that you can sacrifice talent for a guy with a lot of heart. We've had a lot of linemen in front of me that were undersized, that went to small schools. I still joke with Willie Colon. Hofstra doesn't even have a football program anymore.
Right.
Willie Colon, not that he was undersized, but a guy, Darnell Stapleton. I mean, we can go down the list of guys that were like, holy cow, they probably shouldn't be here as long. Trey Essex. I mean, guys that shouldn't probably have been there as long as they did, that just lasted. Yeah. Heart. A lot of heart. And so I think that there's something to
But at the end of the day, isn't that football?
Yeah.
I mean, if you're really team building, you care. You have to put a value on that, and I still think the Steelers do. I do. I think there's a value placed on that, and that's why he's in Pittsburgh, because they probably saw that. I mean, you're going to see that. I mean, when you're going to interview these guys and you get to meet them at the combine and do all that and go out to their campus and stuff, you can feel it, and you should celebrate it. Now, if that meant 5th round, 6th round, wherever it was, then so be it. That's more talent. That's more however the chips fell in the draft. But they got a chance to get them from, they have them in the building.
Yeah. And
you got the attitude and you got this want to from a young guy. Shoot, it can be sculpted like a nice piece of clay.
Yeah. I thought of something I wanted to ask you too, and it's going backwards a little bit, but do you think the Steelers were right in waiting as long as they did for Aaron? I know he's a guy. Listen, Gold Jacket, Hall of Famer, this, that, and the other. But at some point, do you just say, you know what, we got what we got? Or because of his resume and all the things I just said, you were like, you know what, we'll take him literally till day one of training camp. We'll take him.
Well, I think they inside without being in the building and without knowing any of the things. And Mike and I don't talk football, but I would think that decision was made a long time ago. That they're gonna go all in. And he's the one they're going all in with. If everything's right, they're all in with him, and they're okay with however the draft's going to turn out and what they have on paper. In the building. I think they were already good with that, and they're going to stay with Aaron. Would we have stayed with you? Absolutely. And if you would have decided, hey, look, I need more time to, I'm thinking about retiring. I mean, this elbow is tough. Now I'm flying across the country. I got all these doctors doing my stuff. What are you going to do? Ben, we're going to let you go all the way until whenever. I think they did that with him.
Yeah.
And maybe it gives them a shot to the run. Maybe there's quarterbacks coming out next year. I don't know the crop. I don't know who they are. Obviously, I think we all are probably saying the same thing. At some point, there's got to be the young quarterback with pedigree in Pittsburgh. Cleveland's been in quarterback purgatory basically since my dad retired. They have been. So I don't wish that on any team. And definitely not Pittsburgh.
Right.
Definitely not Pittsburgh.
No,
Yeah.
So,
Well, no, I was interested. I wanted to ask you guys what you guys thought about the journey of getting Aaron here, because I feel like in the media it was like, is he going to decide? Is he not going to decide? Based upon how it played out, it seems to me that this was something that was like, hey, I'll be here. I got some personal stuff I'm working through. And it seems to me that this was, the mandatory minicamp was the deadline. And if that's the case, if it was like, listen, I'm going to take you at your word. We'll move forward, do what we have to do. We won't put anything on paper. You handle your life and then come here, be here by then. If that's how it went down, I actually respect that process a lot more. I respect Pittsburgh a lot more for doing that if that's how it went down. You know what I mean? Like, hey, if you got some stuff going on, it seems like he got married. I don't know, but it seems he's wearing a ring now.
Oh, is he?
I mean, that's in the pictures.
Oh, okay.
You see that.
If that's the case that he said to them, hey, I'm coming.
Right.
Trust me, I will be there. And it wasn't just like I might be there.
Right.
Because that, to me, that's a different ballgame, right? If you're truly sitting there as Coach Tomlin, Mr. Rooney, and you're like, is he or isn't he?
Well, that's
what are we doing? Like that feels a lot different than, okay, we know he's coming. Like he'll be here at some point. We'll go with that. I don't know.
I don't know Mr. Rooney, but it didn't seem like Coach T would leave all that stuff out of
Coach T
control.
loves Aaron, though.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. It feels like, you sneaking him in to the facility to have meetings.
It'd be hard for any coach not to appreciate the experienced veteran quarterback.
Yeah.
Right. And feel comfort in them. Because it's a long year. I mean, it's a long season. I used to tease about just even red zone touchdowns. And I don't know the statistics. I didn't fall to anything like that. But, Aaron gives you a chance to throw touchdowns in the red zone. Mm-hmm. You gave us a chance to throw touchdowns in the red zone. It takes sometimes those experienced veteran quarterbacks to pull the trigger in tight windows and understand how to get that job done down there. That's points, and that's
a lot of red zone interceptions, but you can't be afraid.
Well, you can't be. But that's kind of that, that I've always teased about it. It's that, in my opinion, forgive my language, but it's kind of like that FU money. You have it. You're willing to take the risk. You're not getting benched. And I've seen this before, and I'm ripping it, and I'm taking a touchdown. Mm-hmm. But you're also, if it's a pick, you're the one that stands up in the press room afterward and says, "My bad." Mm-hmm. Okay, that's a lot of responsibility, but it comes with that vested guy. Because I used to have to try and see these young quarterbacks, just like Mason, pull the trigger down there, and they won't, because that pick might get him out of the league. It doesn't get him another week or another shot, or I'll get it next trip down.
He might not get.
He might not be in the series the next time.
True.
So
I thought, Spence, I've been sitting here thinking about your question about, like, if something hits the fan, and it's like, who's coach going to go at, Aaron or the OC? Yeah. I feel like he's going to do both. Here's what I'm saying.
I'm throwing shots at everybody.
He's going to go to Aaron. He's going to be like, "Hey, listen, I'm with you. I'm going to talk to him. I got you. I know what you need. I got it." Okay. He's going to go to Arthur. "Hey, listen, I talked to Aaron. I got him. I'll keep him under wraps." Like, he's going to keep both of them as happy as it can be. Now, if it comes to the media, I think he's gonna say, Coach T's gonna put all the words. He's gonna throw a lot at you and give you no kind of real answer.
I respect that about Coach T. I love how Coach T does press conferences.
He's gonna give you
it's my favorite.
He's gonna give you a lot of little, a lot. So he's not gonna actually throw anybody under the bus. But at the end of the day, I think you've got a guy has been in the league, and there's something to be said about having a quarterback. And I think he's going to try and do his best to side with that guy. Yeah. That's my pick. But again, he will do everything he can to keep you. It's a sleight of hand. What's Coach Tomlin talking about? We got a lot going on. Wait.
Well, it's interesting.
Go Fish. Oh no, I'm not playing that.
It's interesting because if you bring them in like they have, I mean, how do you not kind of give them the keys to the car? I mean, you kind of have to in some regards. Now, Aaron wants to win too. I'm assuming that his desire to play one more year is only about an opportunity for one more Super Bowl to try and catch you in wins.
I don't think he's going to go. I don't think he's got much more after this year. I think this might be it for him.
Could be.
Personally. I have no reason. You could ask, well, how do I know? I don't know. I'm just guessing in terms of you coming off an Achilles. Coming off my elbow, my first year back, I felt like I was 100. I wasn't even – you don't realize that you're not 100 until the next year when you are 100. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was like, wait a second. Oh, I wasn't there. And so he's coming 1 year last year off his Achilles. He's probably like, I felt pretty good. This year, he's going to be better, like in the sense of body feeling better. Doesn't mean he'll play better. You never know. That there's a lot of other factors on that. But he's going to feel better. But it doesn't mean that he's going to have 2 or 3 years left. I think this might be his last go.
Did he sign a 1 year? Or
1 year.
1 year.
Well, like I said, all chips in and let's go.
Let's
see what you can get done.
So Pittsburgh's in this weird spot where they are like competing but also rebuilding. What is, if Aaron comes in, you give him the keys to the city, you allow him to run and make him feel comfortable to make a run at it, and it doesn't happen, what does that do to the rebuilding of your offense? That you have to restructure it again because you changed it to appease this guy?
No, I don't know that they're going to change the offense. I would say within the system, there may be things that Aaron feels most comfortable with and ways that he knows that he can do things and use the system to his liking, to his abilities, to the things that he knows, hey, this would be perfect. We have it in the system. We need to get it right now. It has to be called. We're in the red zone, and he makes that call. I think they're going to have that opportunity. And Arthur's going to work with him that way. I mean, it would be foolish not to, in my opinion, to not always work with the veteran quarterback. I mean, sometimes it's easier to coach a younger quarterback if you're one of those coaches that, expects you to do it this, and that. But there is other ways to, put butter on the bread, I guess. You can do it differently. It doesn't have to be with a knife.
So I'm always curious about this. You've been retired. You're sitting there fishing. You're watching this play out. What would you rather prefer? A young buck, give him a shot, try to rebuild, or bring in like a seasoned vet?
Well,
because I don't know you have a contract.
Yeah, every coach in there, it gave me comfort to know that Ben was in the room, Charlie Batch was in the room, Byron Leftwich was in the room, and a young Dennis Dixon was in the room. Okay, there's a lot of talent in there, but a lot of years of experience, and that makes you feel good as a coach because, man, if Ben's not practicing, boom, someone's in there. If someone's not practicing, things happen. You got guys. I can't count. Charlie went in and played. Him and Dennis both won games early in the season one year. We went to a Super Bowl. The more talent, the more experience you have in a room, as long as it doesn't hurt the building, the chemistry. And I think that's what we're really talking about here. Pittsburgh's doesn't have to be isn't that major media outlet. New York, where he just was hanging out. I mean, that was a big change for him from Green Bay, from a media standpoint and all that. And so everything's Aaron Rodgers. Hey, look, I don't know Aaron like you guys know him. I've met him on the field like you. I'm assuming that he's here to win a championship, and that he's going to put all the chips in and going to work his tail off to do that. And that just means that they'll work together and they'll figure out a way to do it. But the young versus the older quarterback, win now, maybe think. I don't know. How many games you win when you were young?
A lot.
Well, that's my point. So it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to have that guy.
Yeah.
Now, it's a comfort. It feels good, and it may give everyone, some direction. And who knows? What's the emphasis of everyone else, all the other players? What's the other players? Not the players in the locker room. Well, you can talk about Cam and maybe TJ and Minka. I mean, they've been around a long time, and they need this. But what's the rest of it look like?
Yeah.
I'm talking about administration, coaching staffs, all that. I worked in college many years, and I could always tell when a coach was when things were. You could feel like you had to make some drastic kind of change. And all of a sudden you go from developing and recruiting high school kids to going out to JUCOs and taking 1-for-1 transfers to build your team to win a championship.
It's just hard because is Arthur Smith, because to answer your question, Spence, or to at least comment on it, about the future compared to the right now, is Aaron the quarterback of the future? No, because we don't know how many. Aaron may only be here 1 year, most 2, 3, which I think is probably pushing it. But is Arthur Smith is he the coordinator of the future? Sure. That's going to be the key too, because if you're building for the future and you end up saying, okay, Arthur Smith ends up, they don't have a great year this year, and then it's like, okay, Arthur's on the hot seat, and you get a young quarterback in, or maybe it's Will Howard, maybe they go draft a guy, who knows, and then they have another bad year, and then you get rid of the coordinator. And then it's like, okay, now we're getting a coordinator in. There's just so many variables that could happen. So I think that's what you have to figure out first is who is if Arthur Smith and that kind of offense is what you want for the future. Sure. Then you keep him here, you lock him down, and you get the quarterback and you build a team around, because we were at our best in Pittsburgh on offense, at least speaking, when the coordinator, whether it was BA or you, and the quarterback had spent time together.
Sure. Yeah. Mitigate the variables. Yeah.
You get rid of that stuff. I mean, there were years, a bunch of years in there when we were the top 3 offense for 5 years. Top 5 offense for even long. I mean, it was just, we were doing some things. We had great players, but we knew how to work together, and we knew what we were doing. So I don't know. There's a lot of what else. We spent a lot of time talking about this topic. I think it deserves it. Yeah. I think that's the biggest question people are asking this year. And none of it's going to be answered until a couple weeks in. Preseason's not going to give us anything because Aaron's let me ask you this: does Aaron play in the preseason? Yeah,
I think you got to. I don't know what it looks like now with the limited preseason games. What is it? 3 now?
It's 3. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know how that rotation. But
typically,
I would say,
but with the new offense and trying to get an understanding of guys.
You're going to have a series or 2.
I would think so too.
You're going to have to take it,
I would
or
think.
At least you'd want to have a live 2-minute. something. I mean, give you the end of the half or something.
Anything, yeah. It'll be interesting to see how that plays.
Well, and then this can be the last question about Aaron Rodgers, unless you guys have anything more you want to say, because I know you might want to touch on what's happened with TJ. We talked about it a little bit at the beginning, but what do you think beyond maybe coming back from an injury? What do you think fell apart over there in New York last year? Was it administrative? Was it O-line? Like, what do you think you didn't see the success? I think they won 5 games.
Yeah, I don't think Aaron was 100%. I mean, he may disagree with me, but I just think coming off an injury is not easy to do right away. Again, I thought I was 100% coming off my elbow until the next year, and I realized I wasn't. I think O-line struggles for them last year. I mean, not diving in deep, because I know they were super talented on defense. They had some talented skill guys. Aaron had a bunch of his guys come in there, which is another thing. Again, I know we don't want to talk about this too much, but I'll hit that. I'll say I think the line was an issue, and that just Aaron can't just escape like Aaron used to be, and he's still good. But Aaron was
Houdini,
was able to escape, and not just escape, but create and utilize his legs. He was a very, very good runner, like very underrated runner, fast, could do some things, and it just with age you lose that. Sure. Only person that doesn't lose that's Michael Vick.
Yeah, he didn't. He sure didn't.
But I personally, I think that's going to be the thing. Or what was the issue? I'm sorry, in New York. And there might have been coaching issues. I mean, again, those are things I don't know about.
They fired. I think they let a coach go early in the season.
And Aaron
the GM.
They talk about was that because of Aaron? And they brought receivers and people in because of Aaron. Now they're talking about the Lazard coming here and being a receiver. Obviously, Pittsburgh knows that they need some more weapons. You got DK, but you could use some more guys. That's going to be the next big question is, okay, do we let Aaron, that's an Aaron guy. Mm-hmm. Are we bringing guys in for Aaron? Or as Pittsburgh, are you saying, no, we're not doing that here. We're almost go the opposite direction just to prove no, this is not Aaron's thing.
Right.
That'll be interesting to see what happens. I don't know if you have any thoughts on that, but do you bring that guy in because Lazard is talented? Or do you say, you know what, we're not gonna go that way just because that's Aaron's guy?
I don't know. The thing I grew up with was Mr. Colbert and Mr. Tomlin and Mr. Rooney, and the board was the board, and the free agent board was the board, and everybody did their evaluations, and you have personal feelings about certain things. Yes, you can stand on the table for certain guys, them or things like that. But the truth is, it was always regimented towards best fit for the Pittsburgh Steelers,
right?
And how does this move forward? And that means financially, that means fitting in the room, that means all that. So it was always calculated. If someone like Lazard is being looked at, I would have to assume that they're looking at other free agents, and here's what the board looks like, and here's what it is. It so happens Aaron knows them. So be it.
I don't think the Steelers put you over the top.
Yes, that might put you over the top. But see, that wouldn't put you over top in Jets. I could see where potentially you came in and said, "Hey, I want Mike Wallace with me. He's a free agent looking for a home, and I would like Emmanuel Sanders. Let's get him in a trade."
Yeah.
I don't think that happens in Pittsburgh.
Okay, that's good. I think that's good. Yeah. I mean, that's enough on that topic. Yeah. Unless something else pops up. I think.
Would you hear about the quarterback situation in Pittsburgh?
That was a long time ago.
No, but I'm saying you mentioned obviously TJ. I don't know that we know anything about it other than the fact that people are saying that he's not showing up at minicamp today. Right. Like I said, he might be in the room right now. We have no idea. We're sitting in your basement, but that I would imagine that has to do with contract negotiations. And just curious, Randy, on your take, what does that look like from a coaching standpoint?
Well, you never want to not have your guys there because especially if you're the position coach and then you're the coordinator, because stuff runs downhill, and you kind of gotta, you just want your guys there. Sure. I'll give you an example. My very first year in Pittsburgh, we're doing all the testing. How you run the hundreds. That's what training camp is. And all of a sudden, Santonio is nowhere to be found, and he's calling me. He's 10 minutes down the street, and we're 5 minutes away from the line. Being on the line. Next thing you know, he's running over the hill. Cedric Wilson's coming in behind him. I mean, they're running down the hill and trying to make it to get on that line. Well, I'm sitting over there as a coach. I'm about ready to lose my mind. I mean, this is not good. I mean, I'm responsible for these guys. Well, someone's responsible for TJ, and a coordinator is responsible for TJ too. Now, I know this is the business aspect, but the fact is, he's your lead dog. When you're not there, it's not a good feeling. He's the leader of that whole team, with the exception of Cam. And I just wish him the best. I hope he gets what he deserves. And I don't know what that is. I don't follow it like that, and I don't. As a coach, I never really was involved with any of that part.
Yeah, I think it's interesting because this is now a mandatory minicamp, right? Yep. So he can be fined. It'll be interesting to see if the Steelers decide to fine him or not, because they don't have to.
Yeah,
they can. I think the report was a little over $100,000 for the weekend, which it's $100,000. It's not nothing. It's but that's a lot of money. People are talking about he's a new dad. He's got this. Obviously, TJ's a captain of this team for a reason. TJ is a Hall of Famer. Last time this happened was 4 years ago when TJ was looking for a new contract. Yeah. The difference is he's holding out. So holding out means he's not there. Last time he held in, which means I'm going to come.
You're right.
I'll be here, but I'm not participating.
Right.
I'm here. I'm all part. This time he's not. And that the unique thing is, after that year, he got his contract, or after that thing, he got his contract and led the league in sacks, I believe. This year he's not there. And so you ask the question, well, what's the difference? I don't know. I only TJ knows the difference. My only speculation and guess, and it's because you brought it up, is like, they must not be close.
Sure.
Right? Like if you're close, I would think that TJ would do what he did last time. Like, okay, I'll show good, we're close, we'll get this thing done. Maybe they're not even in the ballpark. Yeah, and TJ's like, why am I coming if we're not in the ballpark? Like, again, total speculation, no idea, because I'm just trying to figure out what's the difference in this time and last time. What's the difference? Yeah. It's a very similar situation. And there's going to be questions asked. I mean, the Steelers have him under contract. If he decides not to show up and not to play this year, what does that look like for a player that's in his 8th year? So he's got to be close to 30. Is he willing to sit out for a whole year? And then then I believe the team can then franchise him and keep him for 2. I mean, you get a little sticky at times. It's an interesting thing what's going to happen here. I can imagine. I think he's set to make 28 this year. I think I was told or read or something. And Miles obviously just did a thing, and he's going to make 40. How do you compare those two players? Sure. And so I think that's probably what TJ's seeing. And again, total speculation on our part. I think that there's probably a lot of teammates there that would like for TJ to be there. There's probably a lot of guys there like, go do your thing.
Right.
Like Randy said, if he was there, and even if he was there, quote unquote participate, say he was under contract, he's probably not doing much anyway.
Right.
Sure.
Like, he's going to be standing around anyway.
Right.
So at the end of the day, is it the biggest deal in the world that he's not there? For football, no, I don't think. For the locker room and that kind of stuff, that's going to be the interesting part. Most players don't get too worked up if other guys aren't there, because they're like, take care of your business.
Sure. Especially a guy like TJ.
Yeah, especially a guy like TJ. And he's going to work his butt off. He's not sitting on the couch eating potato chips right now. I think it's a bigger, like you said, coaches. They're like,
coaches. You get a little ruffled. You want your people there.
Yeah,
you want your best players there.
Yeah, and he's the best player on the team.
Yeah,
so it's but again, we don't know. Things could change. He might be there tomorrow.
Sure.
It could have been a one-day thing. It could have been, but I think you nailed it, Spence, where it's like, man, it sure seems what's the difference? That's I keep asking, like, what's the difference in this time and last time?
Yeah. And it seems like they might be further away from contract settling than we would hope. But it is crazy. I don't know if you guys can shed any light on it, or if it is even there's any light to shed, but it does seem crazy to a fan that a contract for a player like that isn't a top priority. And I know it's a lot. It's probably going to be a lot of money, right? But it seems wild that wouldn't be something we were trying to, hey, listen, you've been great to the city. You've been great for the team. The stats show you're obviously a vital player to what we're trying to do here. Let's get this thing figured out so we can move on.
To me, the hard part is the unknown.
Sure.
Because what is TJ asking for? What is the team willing to do? Maybe the team said, hey, listen, we're willing to make you the highest paid non-quarterback in the NFL. You'll jump miles. But let's do it in a 3-year deal rather than a 5-year. Maybe TJ wants 3, they want 5. I mean, there's so many variables when it comes to contracts. Guaranteed money, right? That's a new thing that's kind of happened in the league in the last handful of years, guaranteed contracts, because we're the one sport, football, that didn't do guaranteed contracts. Right. So now maybe it's a guarantee thing. Maybe TJ's like, I would like X amount guaranteed, and the Steelers aren't really known for doing guarantees. And so maybe there's so many factors in a contract. And it could be one of, say there's I know there's more, but say there's 10, just for a round number. There's 10 factors in this contract, from deal length, average per year, guarantee, all the stuff. They may only be off on 1.
Right.
They could be off on 9.
Yeah.
Like they may say, hey, TJ, we'll give you $41 million a year. And that makes you the highest paid or more than Miles. Yeah. But then the other 9 things are like not guaranteed, not this, trade, like all these different things. He's like, well, that doesn't, there's just so many variables involved that we don't know the answer to. So it's hard for us to speculate that kind of stuff.
We need.
I just think you don't like the talk about seeing TJ not ever being here. Yeah, I mean, I tend to believe, and I was here during a great time when it was something to be a Steeler, and it felt like that, and it breathed. The whole building was like that, and TJ's still part of that. I mean, TJ still is he's hardcore. He's a good person who works his butt off, and I think. I hope he's here till as long as he wants to be. Yeah.
How much do you think, and obviously this would be total speculation, we could ask Evan, I guess, too, is like his brother, Houston Texan, steadfast, everyone knew him there, but he played to Arizona, played the last couple years in Arizona. Yeah. Probably, I can't even remember why that happened. Did Houston not want to pay him? Did Arizona, I don't know, I don't remember the details. How much I wonder is JJ in his ear being like, hey, listen, there's going to be someone out there that's going to pay you.
Oh, I'm sure there would be, but...
Yeah, 31 other teams.
Troy, Ben, I'm going to go down this list of guys. Your Steelers, your lifelong Steelers. Hines Ward. There's something to be said for that. And TJ's cutting that mold.
For sure. There's no doubt.
And it would just be disappointing. That's all.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, if for whatever reason
something else,
he was totally somewhere at the end, that's all. But in respect big for what he's done to this point here. And he's still got game in him. You know that. I mean, if we know one thing, if he is getting a new contract, and you say he did lead the league in sacks, now I remember the year because he went off. He'd probably do that again this year.
Yeah.
And that's one way that maybe you can smooth things over offensively for a while you're working out the kinks.
Yeah.
Early in the season.
Well, and it seems like in the offseason, the Steelers have done some good work to patch up maybe some of the leaky parts of the defense too. So, I'm hoping those acquisitions pay off as well.
Well, the unique thing is going to be too, though, Spence, sorry to interrupt you, is that the Steelers are notorious for not negotiating during the season. So you have your window to do this is different than most teams that are open to doing it all year round, right? You could come in week 1, week 2, week 3. A lot of teams be like, hey, listen, or tell TJ, hey, listen. We promise you we will get this deal done. Sure. What you want, just give us some time. We'll get it done by, week 3 or whatever it is. Sure. But that's not what this team does. It has to be done.
We need to phone in sports agent icon, Ryan Tolner.
That's what's going on.
And explain this to me like I'm 5. Tolner.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, it's a big story. It's obviously going to be a big story. I mean, we were joking. It's like right before we came on, Spence and I were talking. Who would have ever thought in a million years that they're going to be asking Aaron Rodgers today where TJ Watt is?
Right. Yeah, that's pretty funny. That's pretty funny.
So I don't know. It's again.
Must be something in the water in Wisconsin.
Must be. Yeah,
cheese probably.
A little extra cheese in the water.
I think the water's pasteurized. I think up there.
Yeah. So it's I don't.
Yeah. This has been a crazy offseason.
Yeah.
I feel like
because I don't think TJ was at the golf. Cam had a big golf outing yesterday. I was told. Did you get yours? Did you? We didn't get our invite. We didn't want. They didn't want us to do the show. They didn't want us to do the show there. That's what it was. We didn't get our invite for golf.
I didn't get an invite because I'm bad at golf.
But Aaron was there supposedly. DK was there supposedly. So a lot of the guys were there.
Both good at golf, I think.
Both
of those guys.
I know Aaron is. Is DK good at golf?
I'm sure. I mean, he's a professional athlete. He's probably better than me. Yeah. But I don't. Yeah, I don't know, but it's been a crazy. It almost feels like the offseason's become more entertainment than the actual season for some teams.
Well, for this team, it has been.
Yeah.
I mean,
It's unique because it really has never been. I mean, truthfully.
Yeah.
Not
That's not
a high
supposed to be.
drama. Not a high drama. And not in that market media for that,
Right.
to be honest. But they did a nice job. I would bet that inside the building, there probably was always an understanding of this whole situation, and there probably wasn't ever a panic, like things are going sideways or this and that, and it's probably the same with TJ. I'm hopeful it is, that they're moving right along and they're going to figure it out. And
I know, but the problem with that is, to me, I would hope so too. I hope that that's my hope. But you're not doing your star player any favors by him not being there, because now people are talking about it. Then it's on all the sports talk. It's like TJ's not here. Well, it's creating a little bit of an issue with your star guy. And so if that's the case, and the team is like, hey, listen, we're gonna take care of this, then find a way to get him at the mini camp.
Clean it up.
Yeah, like does it make sense what I'm saying?
Oh,
like,
yeah, for sure.
Avoid the.
It does seem like we were mentioning earlier. It does seem like the Aaron Rodgers thing was probably like, hey, I'm going to take your word for it.
Yeah.
I mean, you got to think, from all the things that were happening leading up. You're throwing with DK. Aaron went on a couple. I don't know what show it was, but it mentioned, like, kind of alluded, gave like cryptic responses to questions that alluded to him playing in Pittsburgh. It seems as if there was an agreement, like a handshake deal, like, hey, I got some stuff to work out. And like you said, you would hope that's happening for TJ as well,
right.
For all that he's done for the city. And to think about him playing for another team is crazy. Obviously, we love TJ and Danny and their new daughter. Like, that's personally, they're friends, but you would hate for them to see them go to a different team. TJ in a different jersey doesn't compute.
Doesn't feel right.
Yeah, it feels like, even if I saw it, it'd feel like it would be AI generated.
Right.
Like, that's not real.
Right.
Over here. Yeah.
Look at this.
Thank you, sir.
Wow.
Gotcha.
That looks great, Ed.
Jeez.
Always
Beautiful.
does.
Thanks.
How are you, Evan?
Doing all right.
Missed you last
And
week.
you gentlemen?
Good.
Good to see you, bud.
Are you
Yeah.
excited? This is kind of like, this is sort of the official start of the season, sort of, right? Mandatory minicamp. That's not training camp. That's mandatory minicamp.
Yes, no complaints on my end.
Okay.
Pirates are playing good baseball. Football's
yes.
coming back.
Swept
Yes.
the Phillies, right?
Oh, man. Raise that Jolly Roger.
How about how does Skeens get a no decision striking out 7? He's got like a 1.2 ERA, and he's
Yeah.
got like no. I mean, it just
win.
how is his? I would be so. Wouldn't you be frustrated?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I got to tell you, this piece right here has no bacon on it. And that's for
Oh, perfect. Oh,
Spencer.
okay.
Thank you.
Do you
Chef
wanna-
Evan's
sorry,
always
Evan.
looking out.
He is. Evan, why don't you tell us what you have before you go on your rant that you're about to do?
There's no rain.
Not a rant. I mean, like your sports, like the Paul Skeens. I want to know about
Yeah.
the Paul Skeens.
There
your
better
Paul
be a
Skeens
rant.
Okay, what you have right there is barbecue chicken pizza.
Yes, sir.
Wow.
So it's kind of like a Sicilian cut, so it's a thicker slice of the bread underneath the dough. I'm sorry, and then in the middle it's a smoked buffalo wing. So it's like a barbecue and buffalo.
Yeah.
a little bit.
up?
I mean, I'm sure it's been used other places, but I enjoy to use the phrase.
Yeah.
Buffalo.
Yeah,
word.
It is a fun word.
a fun word.
You can't say it 5 times fast though.
I can't say anything 5 times.
No, he's like, will not try.
There might be a cuss word
careful.
involved.
Yeah.
I can't do
Might have to bleep it.
It's a family show.
I know, I can't. And then the last one, it's some catfish tacos. A nice little vegetable, like broccoli, carrot slaw underneath, and a little bit of green salsa, and I think it'll be all right.
I think it'll be all right.
You think?
Shouldn't be terrible.
Shouldn't be awful at all.
It might pass the test.
Yeah, I'm not going to.
What? Okay, so Skeens. Do you want to start with Skeens, or do you want to start with the Steelers?
Yeah, we can start with baseball.
Are you obviously they're winning, which is
Yeah.
why am I cutting the pizza like
4 in a row.
You're fancy, bud. So
fancy
he
pants.
grabbed a piece of pizza and then a fork.
That was wrong.
That's okay.
I was trying to be polite.
Yeah, you don't want to get anything on yourself. It's a dense piece of pizza. And there's a lot involved.
Choking here. I'm trying to ask questions.
No way, dude. I'm Polynesian. I'm going in.
So are we? How frustrated is Paul Skeens?
I'm sure he's frustrated with the run support or lack thereof run support, and then there's some defensive gaffes in the mix as well. But with the Pirates, it's hit or miss, and no pun intended there. I'm not, making
That was good.
not making a strikeout joke.
You knew what you
It's
did.
just natural. I don't even have this planned. I don't even have my book on me. This
That's
is
true.
just
You are bookless
I'm
today.
just riffing. But
It's the barbecue, man. Got you going.
I'm sure it's upsetting for him to have to deal with that, and I don't expect him to come out and say it. But
Yeah.
anybody in that position would be upset. Like he's out there, pitching great, and to not have that run support, and sometimes the defense has got to be frustrating. But I'm sure he could still maybe possibly win a Cy Young, right?
That'd be cool.
I don't know if they base wins and losses like with with football, like quarterbacks all the time. Sometimes they're like, oh yeah, it was a loss for the quarterback, but at the same time, it wasn't the quarterback's fault.
Sure.
So I don't know if that makes sense.
Always the quarterback's fault.
Well, I mean,
That's what we
Yes.
blame. We always blame the quarterback.
Evan, I have a question.
Yeah.
okay,
Another question.
yes.
And we might be able to make this happen
Oh boy,
as the show's growing so
Is it?
rapidly. I don't know if it is. I'm just saying. I make things
did
up.
you get a YouTube? There it is.
Oh, you see that, Randy?
Any
We're big-
chance I get?
I see it.
Look
Randy.
at that thing.
We're a big deal here, guys.
I see it.
What would it take?
Yep.
What would it take? Hey, Randy, thanks for coming. See you later.
Appreciate you, man. I'm checking out the award there.
Taking a look.
Did you get one of these first cookbooks,
That's a major
Randy?
award.
You got one of those? You didn't
major
give him a
award.
cookbook? We'll get you one. I don't know. We know the printer.
What does it take to get? And would you like to do this, or would you not like to do this? To stand in the batter's box and face up 100 and some mile an hour fastball from Paul Skeens.
You got it. You
Would
got
that
it.
be awesome?
Yeah,
Or
as
would you
long
be
as-
scared?
I think he has a lot of good control, so I think I'd be able to do it. I'd be scared.
Would you hit it?
Probably not.
If you
What's
knew, but you knew it was coming.
What's the likelihood?
Here
Yeah,
it comes.
well, I
How
mean-
many does it take for you to foul one off?
Do I get to practice ahead of time?
Yeah, you got to warm up.
What do you mean practice that? What do you mean?
Like, I need to see like standing in a batter's box what 100 miles an hour looks like.
Whatever you need
So
to
I
do.
can start. If we're doing this on a Wednesday, I'm going to start swinging on Monday.
Yeah, give him
that
that.
way. I
him
can.
Wait,
First of all, you
get
should
to
start-
watch him pitch on him since for that long, or you just got to swing a bat in the backyard.
I just want to stand in the batter's box. And
No,
Like a
experience.
pitching machine.
No.
Not with. First
Not
of
a
all,
person.
if you're going up against Paul Skeens on Wednesday, you should start way sooner than Monday.
Well, I'm giving myself the benefit.
I'm
of the
getting
doubt.
you. No, you're going to face Paul Skeens on Wednesday.
Okay.
And you're gonna and at 12 o'clock you're gonna get in the batter. Now you can warm up and stretch and do your
Let
thing.
me, see,
Yeah.
let me go to a little batting cage.
You can go to the batting cage on your own whenever
Yeah,
you want,
yeah,
but you don't get to see Paul Skeens.
Yeah, you got to show
You
up
got to
cold
show up and you get in the box.
off the bench.
And here he comes and he's throwing how many before you foul tip one?
Maybe 12 to 15, maybe
Before you're
more.
even making contact.
Yeah,
Brother,
I mean,
you-
it's
You
probably
start swinging
more.
early, but it's a fastball. You
I
know
get
nothing
it,
else
but
is coming.
there's so much more involved. Like
That's like
for
two
like
innings.
a professional athlete of like
You're not getting two
another
innings with
sport,
3 innings.
like it's not going to be the same for that athlete. Like if you would do it, like you have a mentality that I don't possess. You know what I mean? Like
But you're a killer softball player.
It's
I
true.
mean, no, I wouldn't
Legendary.
say killer. Like I enjoy it, softball and baseball. Like
Yeah.
I love to play both.
You play a lot of
but I don't play a lot.
MLB the show.
MLB the show, yes. Yes. On that, yeah. He's
Yeah.
going in the river. I'm kidding.
Love you, Paul. Just joking.
I would try though. I would definitely try.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Would you take? Okay. Would you'd rather do that? Now, this is actually what I kind of did this for my birthday, right?
Yep.
You had to be in hockey gear, in net for a
net.
slap shot from Gino. Would you like that?
Man.
You love Gino.
I do love Gino.
Would you take a slapper?
I don't.
Just think, if you broke a rib, it's from Gino.
I get that, but then it's
Could
like,
you stop at puck?
Oh, probably not.
No.
I don't think so.
But maybe.
I mean, I'm not very tall. Most of those goalies that are like very good are like 6 foot and above. Like they cover more ground. I'm just like
But you're covering a lot of ground.
this little. I mean, this way, yes. But
Yeah, that's
not
all you
like-
need.
Well, the net goal's
net's,
not-
yeah,
it's
the
not
net's
a
not.
soccer
I
Yeah.
get it, but if I'm going down, like dropping down like butterfly, like perfect Marc-Andre Fleury, which I would do.
Can you butterfly?
No, I would roll in the net like Marc-Andre Fleury and like
Throw
hit it with
everything all over the
blocker.
place?
Yeah, and then everybody would be like, he stopped it, like not even on purpose.
In his head.
I think I'd rather. I don't know.
Can I add one more thing in there?
Yeah.
Would you rather stand in the pocket with TJ Watt rushing you?
Which TJ Watt are we talking about? Like prime TJ Watt? Like
Sure. Or now TJ Watt. Is
Well,
really that much difference?
I mean, there is.
Okay. Really?
Well, you saying, what are you saying? Evan?
No, don't get him going.
Okay.
You're taking a hit.
Done.
You're taking a hit. You have to look,
Definitely-
you can't see him coming. You have to look down the field.
Definitely not taking a hit from TJ.
Okay.
No.
So you'll take the Gino.
I might do the Skeens.
But he gets to now throw kind of like inside, brush you back.
Oh, no. I'm taking the hockey gear then. If I'm all geared up, then I'm sure it'd still be scary. But
Yeah, it would be. But
yeah, skiing's like, he loses control just a little bit. I lose my jaw. Like,
Yeah.
then what do I do?
You don't need that.
you can wear
Yes,
a
I
little-
do.
You don't
wear a
need
little
that.
thing.
Your
How am
jaw-
I going to speak to the people?
That's true. That's true.
He's not just a coach. He's not just a chef
You
anymore.
can type.
Ben,
you type it up.
have you met him?
Paul?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
don't know how to read.
Great guy.
I don't know how to read,
Big
Spence.
dude. Huge. Bigger than me. Big dude.
Yeah.
Big guy. So,
I think you could do it.
I think you
Looked up
could.
his size, but
I think you could. Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're good.
Either way, it's terrifying. All
How-
three scenarios.
Oh yes.
How was the fish tacos?
Very good.
Good. This was spectacular. The wings. What kind of wings are those?
Buffalo.
Buffalo. They're very good. Evan, thank you for doing this.
Or Barbaro. Could you say Barbaro?
Yeah, let's go back to Buffalo,
That was
I
a
think.
horse's name, wasn't it? Barbaro?
Barbaro.
That raced in the Kentucky
well,
Derby.
Barbaro. No, you're close. Not Barbaro.
I thought it was.
You're very close. It's something like that.
That
though.
sounds like a horse.
Barbaro,
It should
no.
be.
We covered so many sports. Just
Yeah,
now.
we did.
Yeah. Well, didn't even talk about the
You're
US
a big
Open.
boxer. Oh yeah, the
I
US
love
Open.
boxing. Yeah. Boxing.
Or take a punch from Mike Tyson in the stomach.
No.
Not face, stomach.
No.
Nothing.
No.
Okay.
At
I
any
don't even want
point,
to get in the ring with him.
even at this, even at this ripe old age.
No. No.
Yeah.
He's older, but I'm sure he can still punch a hole through a cinder block.
Yeah, it's true.
And I may be built like a cinder block, but I'm not.
not-
But I'm
same
not a
consistency.
not as dense.
Oh my
right
goodness.
through
This has been an amazing show.
Yeah, I enjoyed
Evan, thank you for this food.
thank you.
Thank you for talking to us. Randy, thank you for joining us. I love the insight, the coaching. It's been really cool. Family, thank you for joining us. Always fun. We cannot wait to see what happens in the next couple of days with mini camps, with TJ, with Aaron, how he did, and what the new story is going to be next week. So until then, I will not be here next week.
Oh.
So we're going to take a week off. Or we'll figure out something for, I don't know. Where
Breaking news.
Yeah. Oh, the bigger news than Aaron and TJ is
Footballing.
Ben will not be
That's
at
a week.
mandatory footballing next week.
He's doing it. He's
skipping.
Yeah, he's holding out.
I'm out. I'm holding
He's
out.
holding out.
I want a different color one.
Yeah.
Yeah. You never really went through any of that, did you?
I don't know. I don't
No, I'm
remember.
saying the holdout. I mean, there was never, never to that.
I truly don't remember.
What always
I might
seemed-
have.
It always seemed
Not
like,
like crazy.
it always seemed
Evan
like you
would
had. No, it always seemed like you had gotten.
I don't know.
Contract.
Might have got it done.
in the
Listen,
off-season.
I'll never put this on anybody else. Ryan Tollner was a great agent.
Yep.
And always made sure that the team and
was good.
everyone got stuff taken care of. So I appreciate him for a long time. So anyway,
We'll
we're
figure
out of here.
We'll figure out next week,
And
guys.
then we'll let you know. We'll let you know when we let you know. And then if we don't, we'll let you know then. Later.